They thought Islam would fade. They thought the whispers would grow louder than the call to prayer. But what they didn't expect, what they could never prepare for, was that the next 10 years would become the most transformative era in Islamic history. Not because of war, or politics, or force, but because of a light that is now breaking through centuries of distortion. A light that even the blind can feel. Something is happening, right now, across cities and villages, in universities and prisons, on TikTok feeds and YouTube channels, in the heart of the West and the soul of the East. People are waking up. Not just Muslims, but non-Muslims. Christians, Jews, atheists. People who were once enemies of Islam now bow their heads in prayer, whispering words they once mocked. The Qur'an is not just being read, it's being felt. In living rooms, in dorm rooms, on subway trains and battlefield trenches. The world is shifting, and Islam is at the center of it. But here's the truth no one is telling you: the next 10 years will either elevate you or erase you. This isn't a decade for the lukewarm. It's not a time for hiding. Islam is moving fast, and those who are not ready will get left behind, not because Islam failed them, but because they failed to recognize the divine hand shaping history in real time. Look at the signs. The growth of Islam is not slowing, it's accelerating. It is now the fastest growing religion on earth. But it's not growing through war. It's not growing through fear. It's growing through conviction, through truth, through transformation, through the simple, piercing power of La ilaha illallah. That phrase is moving through continents like wildfire. And no media outlet, no government, no campaign of hatred has been able to stop it. In Europe, churches once packed with worshippers now echo with silence. But the mosques overflow. In France, the hijab is banned in classrooms. But in those same cities, teenage girls choose Islam over social pressure. In America, the land of capitalism and confusion, Islam offers structure, family, clarity. The most educated, the most questioning, the most skeptical are turning to Islam, not because it's trendy, not because it's easy, but because it answers the very questions the world is too afraid to ask. What is my purpose? Why am I suffering? What happens when I die? Who is God? And the answers, real answers, are found in a book 400 years old, a book memorized by millions, unchanged by time, a book that calls to the heart, not just the mind, and those who read it sincerely don't just become believers, they become witnesses. Witnesses to a truth too powerful to deny. But don't think for a second that this rise will go unchallenged. No revival comes without resistance. The next 10 years will not just bring growth, they will bring tests. Tests of faith, tests of loyalty, tests of unity. You will see Islam grow, but you will also see it targeted in ways we've never seen before. The media will get more aggressive. The lies will get more creative. The pressure will get stronger, but so will the believers, and this is why you must be ready. Not just with knowledge, but with courage, with action, with clarity. It is no longer enough to say, I am Muslim. The next 10 years will require you to live Islam, out loud, without fear, without compromise. Because the truth is this: Allah is preparing His Ummah. And if you are not part of that preparation, you may miss the opportunity of your lifetime. We are entering a decade where the lines will be drawn clearer than ever. Between truth and falsehood, between sincerity and hypocrisy, between those who submit and those who pretend. You will be tested not just with difficulty, but with comfort, not just with hatred, but with praise. The real question is not whether Islam will rise. That's already happening. The question is, will you rise with it? More and more, people are embracing Islam for its discipline in a world of distraction, for its purity in a world of corruption, for its oneness in a world torn apart by division. They are finding peace not in products, but in prostration. They are finding clarity not in opinions, but in revelation. They are finding freedom not in doing what they want, but in surrendering to the one who made them. And as this movement grows, the world will be forced to ask, what is it about Islam that keeps calling hearts, again and again? It's not a coincidence. It's a divine plan. And the next 10 years will make that plan visible for all to see. Islam is not just rising in numbers, it's rising in influence. It's shaping debates, shifting cultures, calling broken people back to wholeness. And it's not being carried by politicians or scholars alone. It's being carried by ordinary believers. A young woman in London wearing her hijab with pride. A teenager in Chicago turning down the party for Fajr prayer. A former gang member in Brazil now reciting Qur'an in his native tongue. These are the foot soldiers of the revival. And they don't even know it yet. What's coming isn't a political wave. It's a spiritual wave. A wave that will clean hearts, not just change governments. A wave that will build families, not just arguments. You will see the return of faith in a time of despair. You will see brothers protecting sisters not because of blood, but because of belief. You will see communities choosing halal over hype, unity over ego, simplicity over greed. And when it happens, the world won't know how to respond. They'll call it radical. They'll call it backwards. They'll call it dangerous. But what they won't call it, because they're too afraid to admit it, is beautiful. Because beauty has power. It's undeniable. And there is nothing more beautiful than a person whose life is completely surrendered to the will of Allah. But don't mistake the rise for ease. There will be storms. There will be attacks, not just on Muslims, but on Islam itself. They'll try to rewrite it, soften it, secularize it. They'll say, you can be Muslim, just don't be too Muslim. They'll accept your culture, but not your conviction. They'll allow your food, but not your faith. And that's when you'll need to make a choice. Do you want to be accepted by the world? Or do you want to be accepted by the one who created it? These 10 years will expose everyone. The influencers, the imams, the institutions. You will see people sell the religion for likes. You will see scholars bend the truth for approval. You will see organizations funded not by sincerity, but by agendas. And in that chaos, the sincere will stand out like stars in the dark, quiet, firm, unmoved. You don't have to be loud to lead. You just have to be clear. And clarity will become the most powerful currency of this decade. In a world drowning in confusion, the one who speaks the truth kindly, bravely, consistently, will lead hearts home. You'll also witness a rise in conversions, unlike anything we've seen. Not just by the poor or oppressed, but by the rich, the elite, the intellectuals, the artists, the rebels, the influencers. Not because Islam changed to fit them, but because they changed to fit Islam. Because when you strip away the noise of the world, all that remains is truth, and truth always wins. But conversions are only half the story. What about the Muslims already inside the house of Islam, but asleep? This decade will wake them up. Pain will wake them. Loss will wake them. A crisis, a heartbreak, a war, a tragedy. It will shake them to their knees. But in that collapse, they'll find sujood, and they'll realize that Islam wasn't just their parents' religion. It was their lifeline. We're entering an era where being Muslim will no longer be about names, or flags, or birth certificates. It will be about actions, about sacrifice, about standing when it's easier to sit, about praying when the world says play, about giving when the world says take, about loving for the sake of Allah, even when it costs you comfort. And you will see miracles, real ones, not in the skies, but in the souls. The addict who becomes an imam, the criminal who becomes a caller to truth, the atheist who becomes a hafid. These stories will not be exceptions. They'll become common. Because this is how Allah revives His deen. Through the ones you least expect. This revival will not wear a single face. It won't speak one language. It won't wave one flag. It will be global, diverse, unstoppable. You'll see the rise of young black Muslims in America leading communities back to faith. You'll see reverts in Sweden and Germany building masjids with their own hands. You'll see indigenous Australians learning Arabic and crying at the sound of the Qur'an. You'll see Latin Americans spreading Dawah in Spanish, shaking the foundation of long-standing misconceptions. And all of it, every conversion, every act of sacrifice, every drop of sincerity, will be part of a larger design. A divine tapestry that we're just beginning to see. But it's not just about others. It's about you. The real question is, where will you stand when it all unfolds? This isn't the time to watch from the sidelines. It's the time to prepare. To study the Qur'an not just for quotes but for transformation. To learn your deen not just for defense but for direction. To strengthen your heart before the storm comes, because the storm will come. The challenges ahead will not just be external. They will be internal. Doubt will rise. Confusion will spread. Your own nafs will pull you into comfort, distraction, laziness. And that is why your preparation must begin now, before the trials come, before the pressure increases. You don't sharpen a sword in battle. You sharpen it in peace. And one of the most dangerous traps you'll face in the coming years is distraction. The enemy won't always attack you with fear. Sometimes he'll distract you with entertainment, with social media, with fake ambitions. You'll be told to chase clout instead of character, trends instead of truth, and slowly, without realizing it, your heart will grow dull, your soul will shrink, your spirit will wither. But if you stay anchored, if you make the Qur'an your companion, if you make Salah your structure, if you make Dhikr your refuge, then no wave can drown you. Because you'll be rooted in something deeper than this world. Don't wait for the Ummah to change before you change. You are the Ummah. Your Salah matters. Your repentance matters. Your efforts matter. The world doesn't need another critic. It needs contributors, builders, healers, carriers of light in a time of darkness. And you'll see that light in places you never expected. In prisons where the Qur'an is passed cell to cell. In refugee camps where children memorize surahs by candlelight. In hospitals where terminal patients whisper the Shahada with a smile. These are not just moments, they are miracles. Proof that no matter what the world throws at Islam, the light of Allah cannot be extinguished. But here's the part we must never forget. Every revival begins with hardship. Every rise is preceded by pain. The Ummah will be tested. You will see betrayal, hypocrisy, division. You will see Muslims harming each other. And it will hurt, deeply. But don't let that make you bitter. Let it make you better. Use the pain to purify. Use the trials to train. Because what's coming will require strength, not just of the body, but of the soul. The next 10 years will expose the weak hearts and strengthen the sincere ones. And sincerity will be your shield, your most powerful weapon, the one thing Shaitan cannot imitate. Be sincere in your salah. Be sincere in your speech. Be sincere in your love for Allah, even when no one sees it. Because sincerity is the seed of revival. It's what made Bilal's voice echo through time. It's what made the Prophet's tears change the world. And it's what will make you unshakable in a time of shaking. Remember the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, began his mission alone, mocked, threatened, boycotted, but he stayed true. And from one man came a movement that shook empires. You are part of that legacy. You carry that light. But you must protect it, feed it, guard it. The enemy won't always attack you with swords. Sometimes it's with whispers, with self-doubt, with slow compromises. Just skip this prayer. Just look this once. Just stay silent when truth is needed. And over time your fire dims. But the next 10 years will belong to those who keep the fire lit, who say no when it's easy to say yes, who walk away when it's easy to stay, who stand firm when others sit down. And when the revival comes, and it is coming, it will be unstoppable. Not because we are strong, but because Allah is with us. And if Allah is with you, who can be against you?